Data are a valuable asset that require careful management. Data are valuable resource that translate into information. Accurate timely information triggers actions that enhance company position and generate wealth. Decision user analysis applies intelligence over data to produce information that is the basis of knowledge used in decision making, triggers actions which generate more data. As organizations become more dependent on information, the accuracy of the information becomes ever more critical. Dirty data or data that suffer from inaccuracies or inconsistencies becomes an even greater threat to these organizations. Data can become dirty for firstly lack of enforcement of integrity constraint, second data entry typographical errors, third use of synonyms and homonyms across system, fourth non-standardized use of abbreviations in character data, fifth different decomposition of composing attributes into simple attributes across system. Entity integrity is primary key, referential integrity foreign key, domain integrity format. Violation no unique NAS not belongs to primary keys can be now not follow format. First, the lack of enforcement of integrity constraints. Second, data entry typography error. Third, use of synonyms and homonyms across system. Fourth, non-standardized use of abbreviations in character data. Fifth, different decompositions of composite attributes into simple attributes across system. Fifth, different decompositions of composite attributes into simple attributes across system. Different decompositions of composite attributes into simple attributes across system. Data quality is a comprehensive approach to ensure the accuracy, validity, and timeliness of the data. Data quality is concerned with more than just cleaning dirty data. It also focuses on the prevention of future inaccuracies in data and building user confidence in data. While data quality efforts vary greatly from one organization to another, most involve an interaction of first layer data governance structure that is responsible for data quality. Second, measurements of current data quality. Third, definition of data quality standards in alignment with business goals. And fourth, implementation of tools and processes to ensure future data quality. Definition and measurements, implementation, data governance structure. Definition, measurement, and implementation data governance. Introduction of a DBMS is likely to have a profound impact, might be positive or negative depending on how it's administered. True aspect is firstly technological DBMS software and hardware includes selecting, installing, configuring, and monitoring the DBMS. And secondly, managerial administrative functions. Planning for proper people to be DBA, monitoring, and controlling. Managerial administrative function. Planning for proper people to be DBA, monitoring, controlling. And third, cultural corporate resistance to change. One role of DBA department is to educate end users about system uses and benefit. First technology, second managerial administrative function, planning for proper people to be DBA, monitoring, controlling, third cultural corporate resistance to change. Data administration has its roots in the old decentralized world of file system. Advent of DBMS and the shared view of data produce new level of data management, sophisticated, and lead data DB department to evolve into information system department. Data management became increasingly complex jobs, thus leading to development of database administration function. Database administration, DBA, is for planning, design, conceptual, logical, implementation, physical testing, operation, and training. Planning, design, implementation, operation, training. It's common practice to define their DBA function by dividing their DBA operations according to the database lifecycle. It's common practice to define the DBA function by dividing the DBA operations according to the database lifecycle first. If that approach is used, the DBA function requires personnel to cover, firstly, database planning, including the definition of standard procedures and enforcement. Second, database requirement gathering and conceptual design. Third, database logical and translation design. Fourth, database physical design and implementation. Fifth, database testing and debugging. Database operations and maintenance, including installation, conversion, migration, database training and support, data quality monitoring and management. Database planning, logical, physical design, testing and debugging, requirement, operations and maintenance, training and support, monitoring and management. And database installation and configuration. Setting the database software and configuring to make organization's requirement, like installing MySQL. User access, secondly, user access and security control. Managing who can access the database and what they are allowed to do. Creating users' account, assigning privilege, managing password. Third, backup and recovery management. Ensuring data can be restored in case of loss or system failure. Scheduling automatic backup and testing recovery procedure. Performative monitoring and optimization. Ensuring the database runs efficiently and quickly. Tuning queries, optimizing index, maintaining CPU and memory use. Data integrity and consistency. Ensuring stored data is accurate, correct, and reliable over time. Ensuring stored data is accurate, correct, and reliable over time. Ensuring stored data is accurate, correct, and reliable over time. Using validations, constraints, and translation control. Database update and maintenance, applying patches, upgrades, and performing routine checks to keep system up. Updating database version or cleaning unused data. Troubleshooting and support, identifying and fixing database issues, solving connection error or fixing any other issue. So installation, user access, performative monitoring, and troubleshooting, support, data integrity, database update, backup and recovery. Database installation, user access, performance monitoring, data integrity, consistency, troubleshooting, database update, and backup and recovery. Even more carefully crafted database system cannot operate without human component. Effective data administration requires both technical and managerial skill. DA must set data administration goals. DBA is focal point for data user interaction. Need for diverse mix of skill. Data administration, data strategic planning, DBA controls, database administration controls, and supervise. And data administrator set long-term goal. DBA execute plans to reach goal. DA set policy and standard. DBA enforce policy and procedures, enforce programming standard. DA is broad in scope. DBA is narrow in scope. DA focus on the long term. DBA focus on the short term. DA has a managerial orientation. DBA has a technical orientation. DBA is DBMS independent. DBA is DBMS specific. Data administration. DA focus on data management policies and standards. DBA DA focuses on technical manager of database system. DA is to ensure data is well-defined, accurate, and consistent across the operation. DBA is ensure database is running efficiently, securely, and reliably. DA define data standards and naming convention. Manage data convention. Manage data models and data flow policy. Manage data model and data flow policy. Ensure data quality and consistency. Align data with business needs. Define data standards and naming convention. Manage data models and data flow policy. Ensure data quality and consistency. Align data. Define data standards. Manage data model and data flow policy. Ensure data quality. Align data and trans business need. The DBA install and configure database. Manage user access and security. Backup and restore data. Monitor and optimize database performance. Backup and manage user access and security. Backup and restore data. Monitor and optimize database performance. Install, manage user. DA need more manager business-oriented skill. DA need more technical system administrator skill. DA create data dictionary, set rules for how data should be entered and stored, ensure different departments use data consistently. DBA optimize SQL queries, set up user permission, schedule and task backup, upgrade and patch database software. DA works closely with management and business analysts. DBA works closely with IT staff and system development. The DA manage what data means and how it should be used. The data administrator manage what data means and how it should be used. The DBA manage how database works and perform. And manager broad business understanding, technical broad data processing background. Manager analytical skill, technical structure, methodology, data flow diagram structure, charts, programming language, and managerial communication skills, technical database modeling and design skills, conceptual, logical, physical, and then managerial negotiation, technical operational skill, database implementation, data dictionary, management, security, and so on. DBA responsible for coordinating, monitoring, allocating resource. Resources include people and data, defining goals and formulating strategic plans. Interacts with the managerial role is for coordinating, monitoring, allocating resources include people and data, defining goals and formulating strategic plan. Interact with end user by providing data and information, enforce policy standards, procedure, manage security, privacy, integrity, ensure data can be fully recovered, ensure data distributed appropriately. The DBA technical is evaluate, select, install DBMS and related utility, design and implement database and application, test and evaluate database and application, operates DBMS utility and application, trains and support user, maintain DBMS utility and application. Policies are general statements of direction or action that communicate and support DBA goals. All users must have password. Password must be changed every 6 months. Standards describe the minimum requirements of a given DBA activity. They are more detailed and specific than policies. A password must have a minimum of 5 characters. Social security numbers, name, and birthday cannot be used as power. Procedures, written instructions that describe serial steps to be followed during the performance of a given activity. To create a password, the end user sends to the DBA a written request for the creation of an account. The DBA approves the request and forwards it to the computer operator. The computer operator creates an account, assigns a temporary password, and sends account information to the end user. A copy of the account information is sent to the DBA. Securing data entails securing overall information system architecture. Security goes firstly confidentiality, data protected against unauthorized access. Secondly, integrity, keep data consistent and free of errors or anomalies. Secondly, integrity, keep data consistent and free of errors or anomalies. Update, insert, delete. Thirdly, availability or accessibility of data by authorized users for authorized purpose. And database security officer secures the system the data, works with database administrator. Security policies, collection standards, policies or procedures to guarantee security, ensures auditing and compliance. Security audit process identifies security vulnerability, identify measures to protect their system. Security vulnerabilities witnessed in our system component can allow unauthorized access or cause service disruption. Security threat is imminent security violation could occur at any time due to unchecked security vulnerability. Security breach is years of database whose integrity is preserved. Unauthorized and unaudited access does not disrupt the database. Action is required to avoid the repetition of similar security problem. Corrupted is accessed by computer buyers and by hackers whose actions are intended to destroy or alter the data. Security vulnerability is technical, such as fraud in the operating system or web browser manager, for example, not educating users about critical security issues. Cultural, like hiding password under the keyboard, not sharing confidential reports. Procedural, not requiring complex password, not checking user ID. Database security refers to the use of DBMS features and other measures to comply with security requirements. DBA uses DBMS for installation through operation maintenance. Authorization management is firstly user access management, second view definition, third DBMS access control, restrict, query, and report, fourth DBMS usage, monitoring, audit, track logs. User access management, view definition, DBMS access control. DBMS access control, restrict, query, and reports. DBMS access control. DBMS access control. DBMS access control, restrict, query, and report. DBMS usage monitoring, audit trail. DBMS access control, restrict, query, and reports. DBMS access control is restrict, query, and report. DBMS usage monitoring is audit trail logs. To protect the DBMS against service degradation, there are certain minimum recommended security. Like firstly, change default system password. Second, change default installation path. Third, apply the latest patch. Fourth, secure installation folders with proper access rights. Fifth, make sure only required services are running. Two main types of data dictionaries integrated include the in DBMS built-in standalone third-party active data dictionary automatically updated by the DBMS with every database access. Passive data dictionary requires running a batch process. Main function is store description of all objects that interact with database and for query optimization. Passive store description of all objects that interact with database and for query optimization. Data dictionary that includes data standard to DBMS becomes flexible to enable use and allocation of all organization information. Metadata offers often the basis for monitoring database use, also for assigning access rights to user. DBA uses data dictionary to support data analysis and design. For example, the data dictionary typically stores description of all data elements that are defined in all tables of all database. Tables define our database. Index defined for each database table. Primary key define database and user and administrator of the database. Programs that access database access authorization for all users of our database. Relationship among data elements. Active data dictionary automatically. Passive data dictionary require running a batch process. Main function is store description of all objects that interact with database and for query optimization. Syst SYS table store one row for SYS table store one row for each table of view, as well as column store one row for each column of each table of view. The names and creation dates of all tables created by user in the current base select name C time from as well as tables were created. This is for store one row for each table. Store one row for each table, and the column is store one row for each column of each table. Computer-aided system engineering automated framework for SDR's structural methodology and a powerful graphical interface. Front-end case 2 provides support for planning, analysis, and design. Back-end case 2 provides support for coding and implementation rate. Typical case 2 have 5 components. Firstly, graphics designed to produce structural diagrams like DFG. Second, screen painters and report generator. Third, comprehensive data dictionary. Fourth, a program documentation generator. Fifth, check on system consistency, syntax, and components for analysis. 7. Graphic report generator, data dictionary, program documentation generator, and program documentation generator, report generator, graphic data dictionary analysis. Critical step for any organization is ensures information system support strategic plans for each of the company business areas. Several methodologies are available to ensure the compatibility of data administration and information system plans and to guide the strategic plan development. Information engineering translates strategic goals into data and application, placing the emphasis on information engineering translates strategic goals into data application, placing the emphasis on data. Information engineering helps decrease the impact on system where process change. Information system architectures the output of the IE process serve as the basis for planning, development, and control future information system. Output of information engineering translates strategic goals into data and application, placing emphasis on data helps decrease the impact on system when process change. And the DBA firstly creates and expand database storage structure. Second, manage database object like table and index. Third, manage end user database environment like type of DB or SAS. Fourth, customize database initialization parameter. Our DBM as well to provide programs to perform database administrative tasks. Database composed of one or more table space. Table space is logical storage space, physically storing one or more data files. Is a logical storage space physically stored in one or more data file. Data file physically stores the database data. Each data file can reside in a different directory on the hard disk. Database has one-to-many relationship with data table space. Table space has one-to-many relationship with data file. And database one-to-many space one-to-many data. Database instance is separate location in memory reserved to run. The database may have separate database running in memory at the same time. Database object is any object created by end user. Database object is any object created by end user. Schema is logical section of the database that belongs to a given user. A schema identified by a username. Within the schema, users create their own table and other object. Normally, users are authorized to access only the objects that belong to their own schema. Users are authorized to access only the objects that belong to their own schema. Users are authorized to access only objects that belong to their own schema. Users authorized to access only the objects that belong to their own schema. Database instance, several database running memory at the same time. Database object and object created by end user. And schema logical section of database belongs to a given user. User's uniquely identifiable object allows a given person to log onto a database role and name collection of database access privilege. Authorize a user to connect to the database and use system resource. Profile name collection of settings control how much of a resource a given user can use. Fine-tuning requires modification of database configuration parameters. Some are changed in real time using SQL. Some affect database instance. Others affect entire RDBM SNR instance. Initialization parameter reserve resource used by the database at runtime. After modifying parameter may need to restart the database.